Good evening, and thank you guys for jumping on to this webinar series that we are putting together for you guys with Edward Waters College. We're just going to talk to you guys about what Edward Waters College has to offer. And we have their Executive Director of Enrollment Management, Mr. Kendrick Dunklin. He's going to speak with you guys. But before we get into that, we're just going to kind of run through some things here just so that you guys know exactly like what the purpose of this webinar is and so forth. Cool? All right, all right. All right, so first we want to just cover webinar etiquette. So you want to keep your microphone on mute at all times. I'm sure most of you guys, when you jumped onto the call, it was muted anyway. Me just playing around with it, I found out that there was a way that I could control that. But anyway, we just want to make sure that you keep your microphone on mute at all times. If you guys would like to share your video, that's totally up to you. It's not a requirement. But myself and Mr. Dunklin will make sure that when we are speaking, we'll have our videos on so that you guys can see us. Any questions that you guys may have, utilize the chat box. And most importantly, we just want you guys to be attentive and respectful throughout the entire time of the webinar. So let's go over the agenda. So first, you guys will have an opportunity to meet the KTC team. We'll talk about the purpose again of this webinar. We'll do a fun little icebreaker. Then we'll hear from the director, the executive director of enrollment management from Edward Waters College. And then there'll be an opportunity for questions and answers. And then we'll give you guys a few updates. Just a reminder, that there is an opportunity for you guys to win one of 4 gift cards. For one, you just have to make sure that you stay on this entire webinar, make sure that you ask a question, and then you'll be entered into a drawing for an opportunity to win a gift card. But we'll share some more details about that a little bit later on. All right. So who is the KTC team? As you see here, there's Dr. Erin Allman, and pretty much her responsibility is to provide oversight for the KTC program and just give direction to myself and Mr. Williams as we give all of you guys support. So you see who I am, Mr. Jeffrey Pierce. I just joined the team back in October, and my responsibility is to assist 9th, 11th, and 12th graders, just helping you guys transition into high school and helping you with the college match process when it is time for you to begin looking at what institutions you may want to attend when you graduate high school. And if college is not the option, just helping you guys figure out what's a very good option for you after high school. Then we also have Mr. Rashid Williams. His responsibility right now is working with 10th graders as well as some seniors. But mainly his role is to assist our students who are currently in college, helping to give them support around many things that they may need as they transition from high school into college. So what's the purpose of this webinar? Very simple. The purpose is just for us to continue to fulfill our commitment to you guys. We know that we are experiencing a time right now that is just not familiar, or it's very unfamiliar for all of us. So what we wanted to do was to make sure that we could continue to give you guys support around the college admissions process. So that is pretty much the purpose of this webinar. So now we are going to play a little icebreaker, and it's called 2 Truths and a Lie. Anybody familiar? If you're familiar with it, cool. If not, I'll just explain pretty much how this icebreaker or how this fun little game works. So before you on the screen, you see 3 statements. 2 of those statements are truths and one of those statements is a lie. So the first statement is KTC has a website you can subscribe to for important updates. KTC stands for KIPP through completion. And the third statement is KTC is committed to ensuring our students have the necessary tools to succeed in college and life. So what I want to do right now is just take a moment. I'm going to mute my video, and you guys just kind of utilize the chat box to type in which statement you think is a lie. Which statement you think is a lie. You guys, you guys are absolutely correct. The second statement is a lie. Does anyone want to take an opportunity to type in the chat function what the correct, what that statement should say? What does KTC really stand for? Oh, Tatiana, KIPP through college. That's correct. That's correct. So cool. I think that was a little bit easy. I didn't want to give you guys anything that was too crazy, but thank you guys for participating in that. So what we will do now is we will move on to the presentation from Mr. Kendrick Dunklin. He is the Executive Director of Enrollment Management at Edward Waters College. So I am going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I will turn it over to Mr. Dunklin so that he can take it from here.
My name is Kendrick Dunklin. I am the Executive Director of Enrollment Management here. Originally from Mobile, Alabama, been in Jacksonville almost 2 years, and so really excited to be a part of the Edward Waters College family. My presentation to you all will be very brief. I don't want to waste a lot of your time, but I want to give you some really important information about EWC, who we are, and what we're looking for in the students that attend Edward Waters College. All right, so we, EWC, which is that's short for Edward Waters College, has a rich history, and we are part of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the AME Church. They have a rich history in their education tradition, how they treat their staff, and how they devote themselves to the community. If you ever tour EWC, you'll also notice that some of the buildings on campus are also community foundations. So there's a building across from our office that is actually a community center. And then we just broke ground on a new football field that will also be a part of the community as well. And that's part of the history with the AME Church. We're the state of Florida's first independent institution of higher learning, and we're also the first institution established for the education of African Americans in Florida as well. So again, rich history in the state of Florida, but also for the country as well. It was started as an institution to educate free men in 1866. So the academic programs we only offer 5 academic programs that gives us an opportunity to really focus on some, I guess we're a small school, so right under 1,000 students. So with the 5 programs we do offer, it really gives an opportunity to really give students that one-on-one attention that they need, but also gives us an opportunity to really just focus on those different areas of concentration, which I have on the screen. So I would say our most popular major for students would be business administration and biology, but the criminal justice program, which also has a building on our campus, has grown to be a really strong program as well. People always ask, what's your most popular program? And that will be business administration and biology. A lot of students want to go, obviously, go to med school. And so we do prepare students for not only to go to graduate school, but for the workforce as well. This past year, we started an honors college at EWC. Right now, it's called the Alpha Cohort, and actually they build, it'll go through the Greek alphabet. But we're really proud of the students in that program. They're doing really well so far. And so students that qualify for that program generally have at least a 3.3 GPA. And then from there, we look at your high school transcript and then test scores to figure out if you will qualify for that program. We They have different programming for those students, but we're really excited about the Honors College and kind of what they're doing at EWC. Right now, we're looking at the Alpha cohort. This next year will be the Beta cohort. So student life on campus. So obviously students know you come to campus to learn and be educated. And obviously the goal is to you come to college and to graduate, go to grad school, and get a job. But while you're here, we want to make sure that you're having the time of your life as well. You're getting that student life experience. So we have the Student Success Center here on campus, where that program oversees different clubs and organizations, but also Greek life on campus. I put this up here, I don't want to list all the different clubs and organizations that we offer, but I just kind of wanted to give you a glimpse of some of the things that's going on campus. So they have a different speaker series where celebrities come to campus and speak with our president, have different conversations. We have Greek step shows on campus. We have actually all of the what they call the Divine Nine, so all the Black Greek organizations on our campus. But we have different clubs, organizations that whatever you're interested in, we pretty much have it on our campus. And the unique thing about small schools is that's something that we don't offer. Obviously, you can get a group of students and start that organization yourself, but there's always something to do. One of the things that I noticed when I got to campus is just the vibrant student life that we have on campus. We have what most HBCUs would consider the yard on our campus, and that would probably be what people will call the center of campus. And that's where you would see just a really vibrant student life, students hanging out outside of the student union, which they call the sub. But I just wanted to give you a little glimpse of sort of what's happening on campus, not only on the weekends, but throughout the week. We try our best to make sure students have plenty to do while they're on campus. We're also, right now, we're part of NAIA Division I Sports, part of the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, and I've listed the sports that we do have. In the fall, we're starting a women's soccer, and so right now the soccer coach is recruiting high school seniors for the new soccer team. And the next 2 years, we're actually moving to NCAA Division II. But right now, we're all part of NAIA in the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. And again, we're starting soccer in the fall. So we'll have a women's soccer team in the fall. If you're interested in being what we call an emerging tiger, and you interested in being a student, our admissions process is really simple. Essentially, we need an application for admission. We do not have an application fee. We just need your high school transcript, your ACT and/or SAT scores. If you've taken it multiple times, we do ask for all your scores so we can super score for scholarship consideration. Then we ask the students to submit the free application for federal student aid, which is short for the FAFSA. FAFSA is short for that. You can apply on our website at www.ewc.edu. Again, there's no fee to apply. I encourage students to do, and this is not just for EWC, I highly encourage you to do this for any college you're looking at, is to visit the school. Tour campus, see what campus what it feels like for you, but definitely just to get a taste of campus life. When you visit colleges, you can actually sit in on the class, have lunch on campus, do various different things. Most colleges will cater to visit to your particular need. So cost, that's a hot topic for a lot of students and families across the country. Here's a glimpse of what we cost what we did cost this past year. Tuition with books and fees is $14,878, and in your room, $37.88, and the board $42.22, bringing that total to $22,888. One of the unique things about EWC that is, I think, is a really great thing for students. Your tuition, your books is actually included in your tuition, so you're not having to pay tuition, and then once you pay everything, you have to, once you get your class, you go and buy your books. Books is actually included in your tuition. So if you do have financial aid, if you do have a scholarship, the books is not necessarily a separate cost from your tuition that you would see in a lot of schools. It's actually included. So that's a really great thing. And another thing they're doing starting next year is for all incoming freshmen, they will be also getting your free laptop. A Google Chrome laptop. So, I think it's a Google Chrome laptop. So I think that is something that, I would say with books being included, but also getting a laptop, really good deal. But if you're living off campus, students that live in Jacksonville can't live off campus, that cost will be $14,878. So you're probably wondering how you pay for that. So with scholarships, we do have renewable scholarships. Our most popular scholarship, obviously, would be our presidential scholarship. You have at least a 3.5 GPA, 1150 in the SAT, or a 24 in the ACT. You can qualify for one of our presidential scholarships, and that will cover the cost of attendance at EWC. We have an honor scholarship that is at least a 3.25 GPA, 1,000 on the SAT, or 21 on the ACT. And that is $7,000 a year. And then our merit scholarship is $5,000 a year with a 3.0 GPA, 860 on the SAT, 18 on the ACT. We have a one-time only scholarship. That's the freshman grant, 2.5 GPA, 800 on the SAT, and then a 14 on the ACT. And if you're a transfer student, you may qualify for our transfer grant of $3,000, 3.0 GPA. The thing I also want to make mention of, EWC is a member of the United Negro College Fund, UNCF, and so we highly encourage all students to submit a scholarship application to UNCF, because we get a lot of students that actually will qualify not only for our scholarships, but for a UNCF scholarship that will help cover the cost of tuition at EWC as well. We also opportunity for students as well. If you're a student here at EWC, say if you didn't get something, or even if you received the UNCF scholarship, students can also receive those scholarships while they're an actual student here taking classes. So we highly encourage students to submit that application to UNCF as well. So this is kind of toward the end of my presentation, but I wanted to put this up here. This could be you. I think for any student looking for college, I think, obviously you want to learn more about academics, learn more about, what we have to offer in student life. But I think ultimately you want to go to college to go to graduate school or to get a job. And I think that if you can't do that, it definitely kind of defeats the purpose of why you were there in the first place. And so one of the advantages, I think, of going to a small school like EWC is you do get that one-on-one attention. You do get that it's not just from your faculty member or from your advisor. Admissions doesn't just leave you in the process. So we act as mentors. You're going to find different people on campus that really take an invested interest in your future. And so I think, helping you find internships, making sure that you're prepared for graduate school, making sure that if you have to take an MCAT to get into med school, you're prepared for those different tasks. And so I think that's me personally, being a graduate of a private school, that's sort of the attention I received as well. And so having people really take a focus, not just you as a number, but you as a student, an individual, and what are your specified needs. And so if you're interested in criminal justice, what are you trying to do with criminal justice? Are you trying to go to graduate school? Are you trying to get a job immediately after graduation? And so that's something we want to work with you, not just your senior year, but freshman year to senior year. And if you need to do an internship freshman year, making sure you have those tools necessary to do that. So, I think going to a school like EWC in that small environment can really help you not only be a successful student, but a person gives back once you graduate. You give back to not only your institution, but give back to your community as well, because someone took an invested interest in you and your education. So that's pretty much it. I can't remember how we were doing questions, but I will open it up for questions if there are any questions about anything.
So students, if you guys have any questions, well, first let's thank you, Mr. Dunklin, for that presentation. But students, if you have questions, please type them into the chat function right now, so that we can make sure that Mr. Dunklin answers those questions.
I see Isaiah asked, what was the graduation rate? So I think it was, when I checked the other day, it was at 53% or a little bit less than that. One of the things that our president is trying to do, our president's been here about 18 months. It's really focusing on our retention rate and our graduation rate. So the goal is for us to recruit graduates. And what I mean by that is we have a concentrated effort now on recruiting students that not only can be successful their first year, but can get through basically their entire time. So they would come here as a freshman, come back as a sophomore, but be successful throughout their entire time, graduate from institution, but also be a successful alum. So we do have that. We know that's one of the issues that we are having with our graduation rate. So the past, like I said, one of his initiatives is to make sure that we improve that. And so our motto right now in admissions is to recruit graduate students that can come here and be successful in and outside the classroom. The GPA required to get into the school, right now we're looking at students that, and you gotta have at least a 2.5 GPA. However, students that have below a 2.5 GPA, we do have a summer bridge program called the Pierce Institute. And so you can come here in the summertime to take some classes to kind of give you a head start to prepare you for what you're gonna encounter in the fall. So the minimum I'll say is 2.5, but if you have a lower 2.5, you can be eligible for the Pierce Institute, which is a summer bridge program. Yes, I will email the slides to Mr. Pierce so he can share it with the group. In case I change my major, will I have to pay more? You do not have to pay more to change your major. You do not. The thing I would caution you on though with major change, you see, if you change as a freshman, great. But if you sometimes you get to be a junior, senior, and students want to change their major, just make sure if you're changing from something like biology to English, some of those classes will necessarily be interchangeable or wouldn't necessarily fit in your degree plan, and so you may end up spending extra time there. You may end up having to go extra money if you do that. But you'll have advisors that will work with you to make sure that you're not doing anything that will hinder that. But for the most part, changing your major will not cost you any additional money. Trying to check the chat. We do look at the weighted GPA. I was asked if we look at the weighted or unweighted GPA. We look at the weighted GPA. Yes, I'm going to share the entire presentation with Mr. Pierce so he can share it with you all. Those are great questions.
Any more questions from the students that we have on the call?
No, we just have those 5 academic programs and the concentrations that are listed. You can go into those different concentrations, but we just have those 5 academic programs. We do offer, we have, I can't remember exactly how many residence halls we have on campus, but we do have guaranteed housing for students. So if a student wants to live on campus, we don't necessarily turn anybody away. But for freshmen, we do have a community style residence hall in Morris Cone. It's a traditional style residence hall where you have you share a room with someone, but you share a community style bathroom on the hall. This year, they're doing something different with one of the residence halls called Tiger Landing. So for incoming freshmen, they have certain spots saved for incoming freshmen in Tiger Landing. Tiger Landing is like an apartment style living on campus. So they have this year room saved for some freshmen for priority housing. So students that submit their enrollment deposits early, they have priority to live in Tiger Landing, which is an apartment style living on campus. We also have honors housing. And so those are also apartment style living arrangements for freshmen as well. But we do have some community style residence halls, but we also have apartment style residence halls, which freshmen are eligible to live in as well. With everything going on with with COVID-19, we're not sure when we're going to open up for tours. I will say we are currently still open right now. We just don't we don't do more than 10 on a tour, but our office is actually still open right now for tours. We just don't do more than 10 people on a tour. Any advice for 9th and 11th grade students? I think I say a few things. I think especially in the 9th grade, you don't always take your academics seriously or your behavior seriously because you're in the 9th grade and you're kind of getting used to high school. I think that's something that you definitely need to pay attention to because most colleges only see your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade like on your transcript. We only see those grades from 9th through 11th grade. We don't see your 12th grade performance yet. So I think it's really important that you do the best you can 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. If you didn't do it so hot 9th grade, do everything you can to pull your grades up 10th and 11th grade, because we definitely look at trends where, did you not do so well 9th grade, but did you make improvements 10th and 11th, or did you do well 9th, but then you start to slide in the 11th grade? So definitely keep up your academics to the best of your ability. Get involved. Most colleges want students that are well-rounded. It's okay to be a 4.0 student, but if you're a 4.0 student and then you don't do anything outside of the classroom, most people will question if you're going to be successful in college, because in college, you're going to have to do more than just go to class. You may have to do internships. You may have to be involved in different clubs, organizations. So we want to make sure that you can manage all of those things. And so it's really important you get involved outside the classroom. And I think from a behavior perspective, a lot of students don't realize that for recommendation letters, sometimes colleges will submit a form to your guidance counselor or to your teachers to ask, about certain things. And one of the questions on most of those recommendation forms will be, have you ever been suspended from school, expelled from school? And sometimes it's just a checkbox. And sometimes counselors just check that box. Sometimes counselors give additional information, but even if you were suspended in the 9th grade, sometimes the information colleges can see. So it's really important that you, do the best you can to not get any trouble, any big trouble. I know we all get in trouble when we're in high school, but that is something that colleges often see from those recommendation forms. You can definitely see if you had a fight or if you stole someone's phone or something like that. And it's really important that you not get involved in those things, because we want to make sure that we get the best students possible that can go to college. Tell you more about the application evaluation process. We put more of an emphasis right now on GPA. Students that sometimes students have test anxiety, they have different issues with ACT or SAT, but we definitely put more of an emphasis on the GPA, because that's a huge indicator if you can be successful in the classroom in college. So I definitely think that especially if you didn't do so hot on the ACT or SAT, your GPA needs to be in a really good place, because that for us helps us to understand how you're going to do well in the classroom. Even if sometimes people write their essays, we don't require an essay here, but people will write, like, I've been through things in life, blah, blah, blah. But even if your grades were in a really good place, you maintain the B average, that lets us know that despite what you may go through, you're able to maintain your academics. So I will say we put more of an emphasis on your grades, GPA, more than the test score. I will say for right now, with everything going on with COVID-19, for those students that are graduating seniors, we're basically going to waive the test score, because they've canceled the rest of the ACT, SAT dates. So for rising seniors, we're not looking at, if you don't have a test score, we're not going to look at those test scores. For those not rising seniors, students that are seniors, graduating seniors, we're not looking at test scores right now. Is your business program rigorous enough to teach you? Yes, good question. So they do a lot with the stock market. Like, they're having online classes right now, and I was talking to a professor, and he was actually he's talking to his students right now about what's going on with the stock market, and what life is like for a day trader and things like that. So that's something they're definitely talking about even right now with current events and what's happening in our country. So that's something that they definitely do in our business program. So a very rigorous program. Professors I've met so far and interact with have been really great. Like I said, I actually talked to the professor and kind of saw what he was doing online with the students, with what's happening in the country. Freedom for freshmen choosing their courses. With freshmen, you do have, especially that first semester, you may not have as much freedom, because I want to make sure you're getting the right courses based on the major that you choose. However, that second semester, you do have the freedom to kind of really choose what you want to take, as long as that the course you're taking, you've met the prerequisite course. So that's really important. When you're choosing prerequisite courses, choosing the course that you're taking, the prerequisites for that course have been met. So that first semester, there may be some guidance to kind of help you choose the right courses that you need to take. But after that, you kind of have that freedom to kind of choose what you need to take. But you work with advisors to ensure that you're taking the right courses as well. The do's and don'ts. I'm assuming this is while you're in college, or I would say um, um, specifically the EWC. I was just talking in general, the EWC in college in general. I think the biggest thing is in college, you're gonna try to be the best that you can be. Try to give it all you got. There are gonna be times you're gonna be stressed out. There are gonna be times when you're gonna struggle, and still doing everything you can to be the best that you can be, the best person you can be, the best student you can be. But communication is really important in college. If you're going through something or you're struggling with something, communicating with your professors, communicating with your advisor, let them know what's going on with you. For students that don't communicate, I think that is something that is oftentimes just a huge mistake, because sometimes people can't guess what's going on with you. So communication is really important when you're in college. Communication to your parents, especially if you're going to go away to college. I can't tell you how many calls I get from parents who are like, I haven't heard from my child. So communication, I think, in college is just really important. But college is also a really important time to kind of really discover yourself and figure out who you are and who you want to be in life. Because after college, that's really and truly when you go into adulthood and when you really and truly start to go out on your own. So I think that college is really that time for you to make mistakes and really, but also, make the best mistakes and learn from those mistakes and just really be the best person you can be. But at the same time, it's a perfect opportunity to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So when you go out into the real world, you won't make those same mistakes. It is possible to take freshman classes early. We do offer summer courses. So for high school juniors and seniors, you can take classes here at EWC in the summertime. We also have a dual enrollment program here, but we do see where high school juniors and seniors will take some of our summer courses, so they can be taken early. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a summer bridge program for students who don't have a certain GPA, so they'll take certain classes early as well. But we do have summer classes that students can take, even if they're not a student here at EWC. If you are from Jacksonville, you can choose between living at home or living on campus. So if you live in Duval County, you do have the option to live at home. What I recommend, I would say it's really about knowing who you are and what you want. The college I went to, I actually lived in the same city, and so I lived on campus. And for me, to just experience life outside of my house, I wanted to really just kind of grow up. And so not having my mom there to wake me up and not having someone to push me, learn to push myself and learn to do things on my own was really important to me. And so for me, living on campus was huge. And I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of connections that I still have to this day. But I talked earlier about making mistakes. Living on campus allowed me to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, even in class, but with friendships, with internships I had. It just I got the opportunity to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes without my mom or my dad or my siblings there to pick me up. I had to pick myself up. So for me, living on campus was just the best for me. But you have to just kind of know yourself. I know people that live off campus that were just as successful. So it's just really knowing yourself and knowing who you are, but also affordability. Everyone can afford necessarily live on campus, and so we understand that as well. So you can be successful either way, depending on who you are. Internships are based on the program that you're in and also you as a person. We have some students who are go-getters. They go get internships on their own. They go, they go out in the community and just figure it out on their own. That's the kind of student I was as well. I majored in English and communication arts, so I actually would go out and look for internships as early as my freshman year. Some students will actually find internships on campus. And so they may be into digital video production or marketing. So they'll try to find internships on campus. They don't have a car, little things like that. But you have students that are go-getters. But we have a career services office that will also help work with different companies and corporations in the Jacksonville community to look for internships for you, depending on the program that you're into. But it just really depends on you and kind of what you want to do. Your academic advisor will also work with you to figure out, sort of what's your end game once you leave college, and it's sort of, what you want to do. We're gonna have Aaliyah's question be our last question for the sake of time. I know you have some other stuff you have to do. Do most students study abroad on program through the school or an external program? I will say EWC doesn't have a lot of students that do study abroad. We do have a few, but they go through an external program. But for other colleges you're looking at, they may have an internal program or an external program that you can look into. They may have both. But I will say for EWC, we have a few students that do study abroad programs, but not a lot. But the ones that do, they do an external program for their study abroad opportunity. I will share when I pass on the PowerPoint to Mr. Pierce, I will also share my contact information with him. So if you have any additional questions, whether it's about EWC or about in general, I'll be glad to answer any of those questions and help out any way I can. Thank you all so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Mr. Dunklin. We appreciate that. You guys are working remotely with your schoolwork and your assignments. So what we're going to do with KTC is we're going to offer virtual hangout and office hours. And they will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. You can set an appointment for office hours, and from 4 to 5, it'll be pretty much like a virtual hangout where we'll just come on. We just want to see you guys, just kind of answer any questions that you guys may have. And what Dr. Allman has done is she has put in the chat a link for you guys to sign up for those office hours. So if you would just kind of grab that link, and if there's a specific time that you want to meet with us, just fill out that form, and we'll make sure that we can set up that we meet that time in which you want to meet with us. Cool. Also, make sure you guys follow us on social media. So we have an Instagram, Twitter, we have a Facebook, and we also have a website where you can subscribe to our webpage just to get updates. Dr. Allman, she's also going to put the link to the website in the chat. So make sure you guys grab those links. If you don't have social media, just fill out that KTC office hours form. That way you can stay connected with us so that you can receive the updates. Pay attention to your text messages because we do send out updates via text message. So if you don't have social media, that's fine. There are other ways in which we communicate and stay connected with you guys. And as Dr. Allman said in the chat, ask your parents to follow us too, just so that they can receive those updates as well. We are going to have some future webinars for you guys. So our next webinar is the Secure the Bag Class of 2020 webinar. This will be next Thursday at 6 p.m. It'll be facilitated by Mr. Williams. This webinar is pretty much him speaking with the class of 2020 about financial aid. That's a very hot topic when it comes to going to college. So he'll be speaking to students about that. And it's open to anyone. So if you're 9th, 10th, or 11th grade and you just want to come and just kind of hear just some of the terms and some of the language surrounding financial aid, definitely jump on. But it is specific for our graduating seniors, but it's definitely open to everyone. And then the week after that, I'll be facilitating a Managing Uncertainty webinar for our juniors. And in this webinar, we'll be talking about, what are the next steps as you guys get geared up to go into your senior year? Because believe it or not, this time next year will come up very fast. And again, it's open to all students, but it's more specific for juniors, but it's good for you guys to jump on if you are interested. We'll also have future webinars with City Year, FSCJ, as well as Year Up. As I mentioned before, just kind of like stay connected with us on all social media platforms. Pay attention to your emails and your text messages so that you can receive more information about those things. Thank you guys for joining us. I understand that during this time, it's very challenging and different for all of us, but I do thank you guys for making time in your schedule to jump on to this webinar just to hear more about Edward Waters. And like I said before, we're going to be rolling out a number of things just to make sure that we can keep you guys engaged. But in the meantime, you guys continue to stay safe, and we will see you guys soon. All right, take care.